Okay, looking at the season as a whole, we improved from last year by about 5%. And, in this league, it's hard to improve by 5%. And that's what we're going to need to do again next year. And that's going to be incumbent upon every player, coach, and person in the organization to try and get 5% better so we can get 5% better, if not more. How do we go about that? Well, I think we had a culture change, which was significant. The investment by everybody after the Four Nations was significantly improved from where we were. And now we got to go into this summer, and everybody's got to have a great summer, and then we got to come here and have a really good camp. So we start on time, and we're not chasing a playoff spot, but in one. And if you look at the teams that usually start really well right from first game, they're usually, you look Washington and Winnipeg this year. They started great, and they were great all year, right? Finished first in each conference. So those are the things that we got to try and do and build upon, because we were that for 2 or 3 months. And then I think the playoffs is a growing opportunity for us. We have to learn to hold on to leads better. We have to learn to handle big moments where the pressure really gets raised, especially on the road, And those are things that everybody got valuable experience with. And I think that's going to be really important as we move forward as an organization.
Does the way it ends, obviously, is that going to serve as motivation? Obviously, there's plenty of motivation, but the way it ended has to sting, at least right now, for everybody.
Well, it does sting. I mean, it hurts more today than it did 2 days ago, to be honest. But we will use it to grow. I'll make sure that we're better in pulled goalie situations. That's my job. I'm going to make sure the plan is better. I'll study the teams that were the best at it and see what they do that is similar to our D-zone coverage so, we can do it easily.
Go ahead. Along those lines, Coach, Tony La Russa used to say that if a coach or manager says afterwards, there's nothing more I could do, then that coach is probably wrong. Like, when you look back, what's your regret, or do you have any?
It's a good question. I think maybe not calling our timeout. We had a couple of icings, but I think there was one deflection play where I could have called a timeout just to, go over the plan again. We had gone over it between the periods on TV in the locker room, and their best players were on the ice a significant amount of time, so I didn't want to give them a rest. But probably us going over that plan was probably something that could have helped us, definitely could have helped us. Being more consistent in the playoffs of creating more chaos, especially in Winnipeg offensively, getting more direct offensively and getting to our forecheck more often on the road. We did it in spurts. We usually did it in the first period, then we kind of got away from it. Those would be the two things that I could think of right away.
So, Jim, the improvements you talk about that need to transpire, I guess, percentage-wise, is it more coaches, more players, a little bit of both? How do you divide that, I guess?
No, I think everybody's got to get better. I think it's even across the board, whether you're a defenseman, a forward, a goalie, Zamboni driver, head coach, assistant coach, like everybody that's involved. That's how the culture grows. It's how you get better. Everyone has to be invested.
Jim, I wanted to ask about a couple of the rookies this season. First, Zach Bolduc, just from the moment you got here and on, how do you analyze his season and then, his game in the playoffs as well?
A really good year. When you look at how he grew as far as his 200-foot game, his competitiveness, he became a thorn in everybody's side because he could score goals and he got in your face. So, a lot of growth there. And he's going to grow from the playoffs.
And then as far as Jimmy Snugroo coming in, so late in the season and then having the production even in the playoffs too. How impressed were you by his time here?
Very impressed with the young man. His hockey sense is off the charts. And I think with a really good summer, putting on some lean muscle mass, he's just going to be better.
Jim, looking at the roster when you came in, was it a matter of things were here, they just needed to be pulled out of the team, and obviously you did that? And if so, what do you see that can be pulled out of this team even more so moving forward?
I did see the talent right away. I think I said that after the Rangers game, the first game I coached. And I think in order for us to pull more out, it's going to be a commitment off the ice and a commitment in communication. And this is more players, pulling each other more into the fight during the summer so that we can start really well when the season starts. And then the other thing is I think we can be a harder offensive team. I thought we got really good defensively. We protected the real good areas, and I thought we were very efficient defensively. But offensively, I think we can become consistently harder and score more goals because of it.
Jim, you mentioned the play on the road. Hope improves next year. What shifts for a team versus being home on the road?
I don't know. It's a little bit of an anomaly this year. I mean, we were a really good road team for the regular season, and then we weren't in the playoffs. It's a learning opportunity. We'll become a harder team for 60 minutes on the road because of the experience we've gone through.
Jim, when you come in the middle of the season, you might not have much time to do some of the things that you might want to do because there's not a lot of time other than the Four Nations break. What are some things you're looking forward to having some time to either implement or think over or put your stamp on this organization this summer now that you have some time to sit back and reflect and do some things?
Well, I want to, tweak some things, look at what the best teams are doing, that we could maybe copy because it's a copycat league. There's some areas of our game that need to get better, and we'll look at those. 5v6 is number one. And then, I think just everybody coming back and having a training camp together and setting the tone of this is how hard we're going to work. We're going to come and have fun, too, because we get to play a game for a living. But when it's your turn to go, whether it's in training camp, it's an exhibition game, we got to go. And I think that's something that everybody has embraced, that work is fun for us.
Jim, was Holloway ever going to be an option no matter how deep you got? And was Thomas limited at all at the start of the series?
I'll let Doug Armstrong answer those questions.
Monty, going back to the trade deadline, so much speculation about who might be moved. Did you push internally to keep things together, and did you truly believe at that time this team would be capable of doing what they ultimately did, which was have a run and get into the playoffs?
What was the first part again?
Were you pushing to keep the team together? I know you're not the manager of the team, but were you pushing to try to keep the team together? Did you believe that this team was capable of doing what they did?
Yeah, if Army asked me, I don't know if it was that, to be honest. It's a long time ago. But I do remember believing with the way we were playing before, from Four Nations until, Parayko got hurt too, right before the trade deadline, that we could carry it over because I saw something special in how we were playing for each other, the togetherness, the sacrifice, selflessness. Thank you. Oh, there's another one?
Monty, I just wanted to follow up on when you talk about playing harder or being harder offensively, to you, is that more system, detail, and execution, personnel? What do you think goes into that?
Well, it's habits and details. Speed at the blue line, attacking middle ice, having a middle lane drive. You got to attack the hard areas. The puck doesn't have to be there, but body's got to be there. Then the puck can get there. And then the other part was being as committed as we were to the forecheck.
Two more.
Are there any plays that go through your mind? I know it's still fresh, it's still relatively raw in terms of how you guys lost, but the icings at the end of the game, there may be some chances to shoot the puck too. I mean, do those continuously cross your mind, and obviously wish those would have played out differently?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from the 5v6 is showing a little more poise. I think we had 4 icings. I think 2 of them, there's plays we could have made that probably would have clinched the game, and we'll grow from it.
Hey, Jim, I remember when Craig Berube left, he said, yeah, it was a tough job to, play the vets and also mix in the younger guys. I think Drew probably dealt with that too. From a coaching perspective, you think this success has put you guys in a position where you're going to play the guys who are ready to make you competitive, and hey, if it's the young guy who can do it, then so be it? Have you kind of gone to that next stage there?
It's a good question, and before I was here, I don't know. Doug Armstrong tells me to play the best players, and whether they're 20 years old or they're 35 years old, that's who we play. And Snugroo and Bolduc deserve to play because they're that good, So I think we're just going to keep doing what we've done, and we're just fortunate that we have sprinkled, 5-year vets, 10-year vets, and 2-year players. We're very fortunate with our roster makeup.